Greetings, we'll cover a few details about Samuel Morse and his life in a succinct manner. Here is a short rundown of his early years, education, career, persona, notable works, Nobel Prize, memorials and legacy, demise. Samuel Finley, American painter and inventor, Breeze Morse. In his middle age, after having made a name for himself as a portrait painter, Morse made a significant contribution to the development of a single-wire telegraph system based on European telegraphs. He assisted in the development of the commercial use of telegraphy and was a co-developer of Morse code. Also known as Samuel Finley Breeze Morse, famous as Inventor of Morse Code, painter. Born April 27, 1791, Charlestown, Boston, Massachusetts, United States. Died April 2, 1872, New York, United States. Father, Jedediah Morse. Mother, Elizabeth and Finley Breeze. Siblings, Sidney Edwards Morse, Richard Carey Morse. Spouses, Elizabeth Griswold, Lucretia Walker. Children, Susan Morse, Charles Morse, James Morse, Samuel Morse, Cornelia Morse, William Morse, Edward Morse. Education, Phillips Academy, Yale College. Discoveries, inventions, improvement in electromagnetic telegraphs, Morse code. Jedediah Morse and Elizabeth and Finley Breeze welcomed Samuel Morse into the world on April 27, 1791 in Charlestown, Massachusetts. Before enrolling at Yale University to study religious philosophy, mathematics, and equine science, Morse received his early education at Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts. He attended electricity lectures at Yale. He started painting to make a living. He received Phi Beta Kappa honors at Yale in 1810 and graduated. His most famous early work is Landing of the Pilgrims, which attracted Washington Allston's attention. He pushed Morse to go to England after being moved by his artistic creation. Morse refined his artwork there, where he was born. He honed his painting skills to the point where, by 1811, he was admitted to the Royal Academy. With the help of the Renaissance masters, Michelangelo and Raphael, he created his masterwork, Dying Hercules, which revealed his political stance against the Federalists in the United States and Great Britain. He moved to America from England on August 21, 1815. He was given a commission to portray former presidents, John Adams and James Monroe in the United States. He also portrayed numerous affluent businessmen and significant political leaders. He relocated to New Haven, where he created a number of allegorical pieces that illustrated how the U.S. government operated on the inside. Despite not receiving much attention, the paintings were eventually hung in the Hall of Congress. He reverted to portraiture once more when his historical canvas fell flat. He was given the privilege of painting the picture of Marquis de Lafayette, a prominent French Revolutionary War supporter, who contributed to the establishment of a free and independent America. A letter from his father informing him of his wife's poor health was carried by a horse courier in 1825, when the artist was working on the picture of Lafayette in Washington, D.C. The next day, he received a letter informing him of his wife's unexpected death. Dejected, he set out for New Haven, but when he got there, his wife had already been laid to rest. Morse's wife's deteriorating health and eventual death left a lasting impression on him, and he made the decision to close the distance between people by developing a device that permitted long-distance communication. He met Charles Thomas Jackson, an American scientist, who was an expert in electromagnetic. In 1832, while traveling back to the United States from Europe by ship, Jackson gave Morse some information about electromagnetic, and Morse came up with the concept of a single-wire electric telegraph to send messages over great distances. Morse gave up painting and focused completely on electromagnetic. He created his first telegraph in 1835 and submitted the information to the U.S. Patent Office. A telegraphic signal proved difficult for Morse to transmit across more than a few hundred yards of wire. Morse's battle came to an end when he sought assistance from Leonard Gale, a professor at New York University. Gale frequently added more circuits, allowing messages to be reliably transmitted across 10 miles. Alfred Vail later joined Morse and Gale, providing both financial support and technical expertise. In Morristown, New Jersey, on January 11, 1838, he and his partners presented the electric telegraph to the public for the first time. "A patient waiter is no loser," was the first message sent to the general public. Morse relocated to Washington, D.C., in an effort to secure federal funding to make the telegraph line a commercially viable technology, but he had limited success. Finally, after much wandering, Morse found financial assistance. He began building an experimental telegraph line between Washington, D.C., and Baltimore with a subsidy of roughly $30,000. The first message, "What hath God wrought?" was sent from the basement of the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C., to B&O's Mount Clair Station in Baltimore, on May 24, 1844, marking the line's formal opening. In 1845, the Magnetic Telegraph Company was established, after the telegraph's first transmission. New telegraph connections, from New York City to Philadelphia, Boston, Buffalo, New York, and Mississippi were not taken into consideration. Morse's telegraph was ultimately given a patent in 1847. He was chosen as an Associate Fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences 2 years later. His telegraphic line became the accepted line for use in European telegraphy in 1851. Morse was denied recognition as the telegraph's sole inventor, despite having developed telegraphic connections throughout the world and obtaining patents. He didn't receive the proper royalties as a result. He filed an appeal with the Supreme Court, which rejected any arguments that disregarded or disputed Morse's telegraphy patent. It claimed that the first single-circuit, battery-powered device was Morse's invention. The government of the United States and European nations finally accorded Morse his due credit and honor after the Supreme Court's ruling. The governments of France, Austria, Belgium, the Netherlands, Piedmont, Russia, Sweden, Tuscany, and Turkey each gave Morse 400,000 French francs in 1858. He was also chosen as a foreign member of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences in the same year. He offered assistance and even made a $10,000 investment in Cyrus Westfield's ambitions to build a transoceanic telegraph connection. The first transatlantic telegraph message was finally sent in 1858 after much discussion. Morse made a showy exit from public life. After a day-long ceremony that saw the presentation of his statue in Central Park, New York, there was a big climax at the New York Academy of Music when he gave his farewell speech in public. He engaged in a great deal of humanitarian work in the final months of his life and donated substantial sums to charitable organizations. He began to get interested in how science and religion interacted. Morse has 2 marriages. On September 29, 1818, he married Lucretia Pickering Walker for the first time. Susan, Charles, and James are the 3 children he had from his marriage. On February 7, 1825, Lucretia passed away. On August 10, 1848, Morse wed Sarah Elizabeth Griswold. William, Edward, Cornelia, and Samuel were the couple's 4 children. Morse was a renowned painter before making significant contributions to the science of electromagnetic. He was a virtuoso at the craft, skillfully applying his strong subjects to canvas in a methodical way that had a hint of romanticism. He developed a talent for portraiture and spent his early career creating works of art of significant people. A single-wire telegraph that allowed for long-distance communication was invented by Morse. He and his companions contributed to the development of the Morse code, which helped make the telegraph a practical tool for commercial usage. Leaders of several nations honored him for his contributions to science by bestowing on him prestigious awards. He was given the Great Golden Medal of Science and Art by Sultan Ahmad ibn Mustafa of Turkey, the Order of Glory by Sultan Ahmad ibn Mustafa of Turkey, the Chevalier in the Légion d'honneur, Cross by Emperor of France, and the Order of Glory by Emperor of Austria. While the Queen of Spain honored him with the Cross of Knight Commander of the Order of Isabella the Catholic, the King of Denmark awarded him the Cross of a Knight of the Dannebrog. Portugal's Order of the Tower and Sword, and Italy's Chevalier of the Order of Saints Maurice and Lazarus are two further notable honors. He was not recognized by the American government until the final years of his life. He survived to see the dedication of a statue of himself in Central Park, New York. In 1896, a silver certificate series featuring the $2 bill bearing his likeness was released. Samuel Morse donated a lot of money to charity. Additionally, he developed an interest in the connection between science and religion and donated money to start a lectureship on the link of the Bible to the sciences. He was able to live comfortably, despite the fact that he was infrequently paid royalties for the usage and implementations of his inventions. Named for Morse, who had purchased land in Ridgefield, New Jersey to erect a house there but passed away before it was finished, Morsemere is located there. On April 2, 1872, he passed away in New York City and was buried in Brooklyn, New York's Greenwood Cemetery.